get them the best result in their house search. And so getting you positioned in the marketplace, that's what you're working on with your letter. Your letter is going to tell them a little bit about you. It's going to tell them what kind of skills you bring to the table. You have fabulous organizational skills. You have a background in business ownership, so you understand customer service. And so we're going to actually develop what that value proposition is today. So you're going to see VP throughout this. And so, does that make sense? Okay. And I don't know you, so tell me a little bit about you.
Me?
Yes.
I am a realtor.
Okay, good.
And I have been in real estate for 3 years. My husband and I work together. He's been in real estate forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a huge customer service background.
Right. What kind of customer service background?
Well, I worked at Quicken for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, I went into medicine. So I have both the Quicken training and then the medical training. So it's really, you know, hands-on, because with patients, you have to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it was cosmetic surgery, so that's even more of a touchy.
Yeah. Okay, and this is your husband?
Yes.
What was your first name?
Crystal, sorry.
Hi, Crystal.
I'm Harry.
Harry?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your background before real estate?
Pretty much real estate. Customer service, and mortgages. Then real
Mortgages,
estate.
you worked at Quicken?
Yes, Quicken. And,
Okay.
Fifth Third.
Fifth Third, okay.
Shore mortgage. And real estate. They invest in college.
Mm-hmm.
So real estate pretty much my background.
Okay. And so you bring the knowledge of the marketplace where someone else may bring, you also have customer service. So what we're looking to develop today is your validity in what your value proposition says. And so being able to develop that with, they've got a number of words, and we're going to actually spend a little time with an exercise that will actually help you see how you could word that, how it could be on your marketing materials, how it could be on your website, and what that development looks like so that you can position yourself for success. And you know, maybe we'll talk about SEO a little bit, because I know very little about SEO, but I know it's important. And so some of the things may be also developing what that website is going to be, what that name is. Because sometimes what people are doing is, well, all the time people are going to, real estate is a really hot word. If they're looking for real estate in a particular area, or they want something special, if it's in your URL, it drives traffic. And so in building an SEO, or building a just went right out of my brain. So building your positioning, unique selling proposition is what we're going to deal with. And so how you describe yourself. So if you actually were going to meet someone brand new, what would you say about yourself?
When it comes to real estate.
Sure, but bring in what you have brought to the table.
Well,
And we're going to develop it. So what would you say right now? It might sound different than what it will say after we're done. So if you were going to have an elevator speech today, what would that look like?
I would tell them that I'm good.
Speak up, or I'm going to make you stand up and turn around. This is an interactive class.
I would
Okay.
tell them that I'm a brilliant marketer and I can help brand them. So I can help put their house on the market and list it for them and drive traffic to have use of their property. Because I can do that with my Ford Fitness apparel site, so I have experience.
Okay, awesome. So what would your commercial sound like? We're gonna go around the room, so be thinking about it. And let's see, when we're all said and done, we're gonna have a written one, and everybody's gonna read it. I'm just warning you ahead of time. So that you can see the development side of it along the way, so that we're bringing to the table something of value today. So, go ahead, you're next. So you're in the elevator and you just met someone and you want to share with them what you bring to the table as a real estate professional.
Customer service and honesty and the best service possible to get your home either sold or to help you find a home. I work primarily with buyers, so I'm more of buyers.
That's fine. That's fine. Finding out what your specialty is very important because that's a niche. If you're really good at something, you will excel in it and you will get better at it over time. The majority of my career I spent as a real estate professional with buyers because I had a small, very not well-known real estate company of my own for 25 years. And so to have no name behind it, I mean, it was a name, and it was recognizable because it was Meadowbrook Realty. Do you know why? Meadowbrook Theater, Meadowbrook. Okay, so having that, there was a little bit of recognition, but I had to sell me. And knowing that I've been in the business almost 40 years, that sounds horrible. But knowing that, along the way, I had to create a specialty that I gave my clients so that they continued to come back to me. Because honestly, I did not have these kind of tools. I came to Keller Williams about 4.5 years ago, and I never knew there was a listing presentation. There is here, it's already done. You don't have to worry about it. And so that was a phenomenal tool. How about you? What's your elevator speech sound like?
I've been in the real estate industry for over 10 years. I'm very knowledgeable on the market. And if you're looking to buy or sell, give me a call and I'd love to assist. If you or anyone else is in the market to buy or sell, please give me a call and I'd love to help you.
Great. Super.
I would tell her that I'm customer service oriented, excellent with follow-up, organized person, history of business experience, HR experience, great one-on-one interpersonal skills. I don't know. I can't speak to real estate. So.
Okay. Yes, you can. Okay. You've been in class for a couple weeks.
All right, I guess you're right.
Tracy, how about you?
Hi, I'm Tracy Wick with Keller Williams, and I have a turnkey property preparation, staging, and sales program for sellers that boosts sales prices and reduces time on market.
Awesome. I like it.
Definitely not good at this.
That's all right. We're going to get good at this.
Thank you.
That's what this class is about, is getting good at marketing.
I'm Lydia. I've been selling real estate for about 5 years. I'm really, I work really hard, offer quality service. I have people that would, most of my business is referrals. There you go.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
I would say, because I'm a newer agent also,
Right.
I would say that...
So we're not telling them that, right?
Right, no, I'm just telling you guys.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm visiting from Grand Rapids.
Yeah,
so.
I know you are.
I would
But that's funny because I know a lot of people who say, I'm a brand new agent, but I can help you. It's like, shh.
Yeah, it's
I'm a partner with Keller Williams.
Yeah.
I'm a partner with Keller Williams and I have great technology behind me. So, yeah.
I would tell them with 10 years in customer service, I'm devoted to making sure my clients are happy and whatever I can do to help them and make the process easier, because it can be a stressful thing, but I'm there to ease their nerves.
Awesome. Great.
I guess I would say that, like you said, partnering with Keller Williams, and I'll do my best to make sure that you're happy with your purchase. It's not about the bottom line. To me, the bottom line is that you're satisfied with my service and that you'll be willing to use me again.
Perfect. Perfect. So our whole class today is about developing that to be the absolute best commercial. And so we're going to go through that. So in talking about this, how do you think others describe you? So that's kind of a personal thing, but I want you to think about, you know, what are others saying about me and my service and my skill set? And so we're definitely going to want to develop that as well. So I want you to define your customer service. What does that look like? Maybe even a step-by-step checklist. We were talking this morning, Tracy came in my office and she was talking about, you know, how can you stay on top of every piece of business that's happening when we've got listings over here and we've got buyers over here and we've got lists of things that we need to do. How do we keep from having things fall through the cracks? Well, one of the things when I went to the .loop boot camp, I found out that in .loop, for each one of your transactions, you can actually have a checklist of tasks, and you could assign it to somebody else if you had an assistant. So you can definitely do that and be able to go down that list one by one and know that it's been completed. So when you list a property, what are you going to do? You know, you need to have a checklist of all of the things that you intend to do with a property. I'm going to have to fill out all these forms, and then I have to get them all signed. Am I going to e-service? Am I going to use emailing it and having it e-signed? Am I going to meet with the clients? You know, each one of those could be step by step so that you know each one of your transactions are the exact same way. And when we get a system in place, it makes us more efficient, doesn't it? And so that may be one of the ways that you do that, is creating a step-by-step for every kind of transaction and put it right in .loop as a task-oriented type system. There are other systems out there, by all means. You can use whatever you want, but we have one in-house that is already part of your system. And so in .loop, you could set that up. .loop class to follow. And so creating your value proposition is key. And so this class is designed for you to have all of the pieces, and you see that we're only on the second step. It has 12 steps to the process, and when you have all of the steps engaged in your portfolio, you know the direction you're taking with your real estate business. And so that kind of gives you a map. So, what makes you valid? The knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs that you already have. Isn't that true? We all bring something to the table already. And so, in how you describe yourself, I guess we've skipped ahead with that. So we're talking about the experience that you bring to the table, like I said before. But in addition to that, what are you going to bring to the table with real estate, and how you mesh the two of those together? They kind of have them in footsteps. So step one is, what did we bring to the table? And step two is, what can we layer that with in our real estate business? And so, on page 10, they've got most important factors. And you can see that buyers and sellers, what's the number one thing? It's the highest percentage of everything. to buyers and sellers? Reputation and trustworthiness. They want to know they can rely on you to do the right thing, and that's why I like Keller Williams, because that is our motto. Everybody wins. If everybody does not win in the transaction, we have a lose for someone. And if we go about, I mean, that's my life belief. Unless everybody's winning, we have to go back to the drawing board. I love negotiations, don't get me wrong. I love negotiations, but unless everybody in the transaction is taking something as a win away from it, we really didn't win. Because somebody's going to go away with a sour taste in their mouth and they feel like they've been taken advantage of. Are they going to come back? And so that's not a way to build a referral business. So we have to always be thinking about what's the most important thing. I'm glad you said it's not about the money, because sometimes I never even calculate what the money is until we're almost to a closing table and I'm doing a green sheet. Truly. Because it's not about that. It can't be about that. It has to be about what can I do to get you into a house that you absolutely love so that you are in love with me forever. And so if we walk away from this class with nothing else, that, because I can tell you, if they can see dollar signs in your eyes, they're going to run. Yes?
Just for an example, at one of my coworkers at UPS, yesterday, maybe a week ago, she closed on a home up north. So her real estate agent, up until then, she had found her a home and everything. And she started to fall through the crack. I mean, this lady was livid, my friend, because her real estate agent, they got the deal all settled. The only thing she failed to do was contact the, I guess, the sellers. She kept saying they were an older couple. It's hard to get in contact with them. They don't email or anything. So she was like, my coworker, she was mad. She said, you could have mailed it to them all this time. What's taking so long just to have them sign the papers? And her real estate agent called her back and said, I'll get in touch with them, I'm sorry. But I thought it was funny because it's a week and a half ago, she was so happy with her, she had found her a home. And then right at the end,
something doesn't happen
right at the end, and she was like, I would just cancel everything right now. I don't even care about the money I'm losing. I just want to be done with it. I mean, she was going to leave the property, everything. Her agent, just so she could be done.
Yeah. And you never want that kind of experience to happen. So that's why a checklist is very, very important, because it's easy to lose something in all of the things that we do, especially as we go into a market that is going to be absolutely bizarre. Going into spring, I have never in my real estate career had so many people that I was juggling. It's like, oh my gosh, I have 9 clients right now that all want to buy in the next 30 days.
Wow.
Woo.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's a great thing. However, how easy would it be for somebody to fall through the cracks? I mean, I have to have their face in front of me constantly. Okay, did you see this one? Oh, did you? And I have 3 people looking in the same neighborhood. Oh my God. This is not good. And I have clients that are saying, okay, I've lost so many with the last agent I worked with. I want to put 3 offers on 3 different houses.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, well, we can write them. We'll find out which one comes in first. It's ludicrous. I wrote 3 offers for the same client last night. I got it all done. He goes, would you do a CMA for me? I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you going to change the number? You know, and they're a little bit of a challenge. They've been through 4 agents. Ooh. But I'm selling them something. Go girl. But you see, it's not about the money. It's about the challenge of finding something for them. They've been frustrated over and over and over because they've lost properties. I'm like, well, the reality is, and they said, you know, we like you because you tell us the truth. I said, well, here's the truth. You are ridiculous with your offers. And they're like, really? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I said, we're not in the market where you can negotiate $10,000, $15,000 off the sale price. And they're like, okay. I'm like, well, you told me I could be truthful. I'm telling you what the reality is. Do you want a house or not? Which one do you like? Let's get it done. And these offers are all low. I'm like, ouch, come on. But they're not listening. They think they know better. Well, wait till he sees the CMA, because, you know, it's the number that it's listed for. I'm like, really? What a surprise. I knew that. But he'll take a look at it. But trustworthiness was key to them. They said, we know you're going to tell us the truth, even if it's not what we want to hear. They're afraid of a sump pump. Okay, well, here's how a sump pump can be solved. You can tie it into city water, and whether you got power or not, it's going to move the water out of there. They're like, really? We've never heard that before. I said, well, we'll have a contractor come when you do your private inspection, and they can tell you exactly how it works. And, you know, you don't have to trust me. I just know the answer. In 40 years, I know the answer. Hello? But, you know, basically people want to know, and you are constantly reminding them that you're trustworthy. Because what's coming out of your mouth is the truth, always. And when I have a buyer consultation with them, I literally sit them down and say, okay, do you want candy-coated answers? Do you want mid-level answers, or you want me brutally truthful? What's going to really be a win-win when we're all said and done? You might not like what I say, but you're going to get the truth. Or would you rather have it candy-coated? You get to choose. May take us a lot longer to find a house that way, but. And so they're coming around. I mean, at least they're writing offers, right? So the agent reputation and the honesty is critical. Agent's a family member. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that's not a really good fit. How many of you have gotten clients that actually used to have their family member as an agent? I have.
I had a client that used to be an agent.
Used to be an agent. Oh, they're fun, aren't they?
Like,
they definitely think they know. They think they know better, or they know somebody who is, and they call them constantly. And so they do use family members. Sometimes it doesn't work out well. They want a caring, listening person who's got 2 ears and 1 mouth, which gets closed a lot when you're talking to clients. You know, sometimes they'll say something and you're like, oh my gosh, but you're not going to respond to it. You know, they want you to be knowledgeable when you're walking through the house. If you're under a buyer's agency, you can be as truthful as you have knowledge to be truthful with. But trust me, if you say one thing that's wrong, when you're in that kind of circumstance, you're losing trustworthiness, even though you may have been trying to answer their question. So don't answer a question if you don't have the answer, the true answer, the real answer, not just what you think. So you really have to come from a knowledge position. I've had these clients specifically, I've gone into several houses, and they'll say, well, what do you think about the sump pump? I said, well, you know how I feel about the sump pump, but this property has had problems in the past because there's stains on the wall. But you can only say that if you're in a buyer's agency. You can't say that if you're working for the seller still. So you have to be very careful at what point you can be brutally honest about a property. You have to have that exclusive agency with them, signed, sealed, and delivered, in order for you to start talking against the property. So, timely responses. How important do you think that is? Would it be helpful for you to know what kind of personality type you're dealing with? So how about engineers? Oh boy, no engineers in the class, right?
I'm married to one.
You're married to one, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And one one of these people, and this couple is an engineer. Gee, what a surprise.
They can talk themselves out of everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah,
It's so easy to do.
right. Absolutely. And so you have to have a plethora of what you can prove to them in order for them to come up with the same analysis as you did. And so knowing whether they're, let's just get it done, get it done, get it done, that's a different kind of personality. And some actually have to mull over everything forever before they can decide. And you have to actually be a special agent to each one of them. So you're going to treat them all differently. So those personalities, you're going to have to mirror and match to the best of your ability. I mean, some of us are just rushing right through the door. I got a client recently that's a transplant from Colorado. And in the referral, he said, the most important thing to this client is communication. I'm like, okay, good to know. Because that could be a deal killer if you're not getting back with them quickly. If you're not answering the questions that they bullet point at you. And so, your accessibility. The perception is everything. I love number 7. It says, agent seems 100% accessible because of the use of technology like a tablet or a smartphone. It's perception. It's not necessarily true, but because you use, how many agents have you seen that have a flip phone?
None.
It's like, really? Yeah, they still make those. My husband has one. We cannot get him into this century.
Debbie, one thing I joke about, my dad is an engineer, and the cell phone exists for his own convenience.
Yes.
I mean, your husband probably saying, oh, turn this off. Like,
I'm like, aren't you going to answer that?
I don't think someone might want to get in contact with that, you know. That's just like an attitude. A lot of people with old phones are that way.
Well,
Oh, if there's an emergency, then I'll have my phone. Well, what if your child needs to reach you? You know, they never think of it.
Exactly. And the grandkids have really been working on it to get him, you know, up to speed.
Yeah.
It's like, really? The group texts. Did you know group texts don't go to flip phones?
Yeah.
They can't open them. It drives him crazy. His phone's going off. When a text comes in and he's like, okay, there's nothing here.
They'll
I'm
know
like,
what it is, right?
Get a flip phone. Get rid of your flip phone, would you? So keep that in mind, because visually clients actually think you're more technology minded, maybe even than you are. I mean, I know a lot of people who have smartphones and haven't got a clue how to use it, but they at least have one, smartphone, or they have an iPad. So if you're doing a listing presentation, we have a listing presentation through Michael Lewis Marketing Suite that you can download or upload, whichever you want to call it, onto your tablet to actually do it technology-wise. So if you are meeting with an elderly couple that don't have emails, is that a good idea? Probably not. So you're, again, going to pay attention to who you're presenting to in all of that. So, on page 11, we're going to take a few minutes, and I want you to answer each one of these questions. So, the things that you would put on your resume, what does that look like? And so that's on page 11. I'm going to take about 10 minutes and go ahead and fill out those questions. Done? So when we started the class, we had a few things. Did anybody come up with some more things that actually brings more experience to the table than when we first started? A little bit? Okay. Do you have any specialties that you think that it's directing you towards?
One thing in my past, I represented a lot of developers of, multifamily properties and new construction. So by doing this exercise, I realized that one service that I could translate is to help buyers of new construction navigate that process, because I understand the timelines, and when I'm touring properties, I can easily look through studded walls and know what rooms are what, and
and whether there's a header that would have to go in if you want to take a wall down, things like that.
Yeah, and working with builders as to modifying, plans, like what might be possible or what would be outside of the building envelope, and explaining some of those things. So before I started considering this, I wasn't even like promoting or thinking of promoting my new construction experience. But it really is valuable.
Right.
Just the right person. And
Right,
I think
exactly.
that's the whole thing that's so interesting about this business, that everybody has their unique set of skills where they have maybe great insight. Maybe someone else has good design skills and they'd be fabulous working with new buyers, helping them select their selections.
Their colors, right.
That's not my
Matching wells.
perfect thing, but that
Right.
they still could be fabulous at that component.
Right.
So to think about kind of outside of the box too, of how
Right.
your skills translate.
Right.
It's
I found that one of the skills that I had was because we renovated probably 150 houses over the years. And so I can usually tell them whether they can take a wall down or not, and what the kitchen could look like, and what the square footage could look like if you did this, and
And how to
could
get an
turn
island in
you
there.
could turn the kitchen differently, you could close this wall, different things that actually help them visualize, because I can tell you, 9.5 of the buyers and sellers out there have no vision at all.
Yeah, it's not, there's
9.5 of them. They walk in and they go, "Oh, it's purple." Like, that's paint.
I know.
It will cost you $30 for really good paint. It will cover it in literally one coat if you do a good job, or if you get good paint. Really? Let's look past that. What color would you make it? And so you really have to help them with that understanding of how simple some of those things are. They're like, "Oh, these counters are awful." So, well, what kind of counters were you hoping for? Well, I want granite. Well, this is a $50,000 house. They're probably not going to put it in for you. But you could put it in, and it's going to cost you, half of what it costs for the house. But but you'll have granite. You'll have granite. And sometimes people say, "Oh, I have to have brick." And I'm like, okay, what about brick is exciting other than prestige of having brick? Because sometimes you want 1,500 square feet, and you want it in Livonia or Novi, and you want to spend $100,000. Well, that's not a brick house, trust me. It probably isn't even a house. But we're gonna go with we'll find you one, but let's get rid of the brick as a search criteria because we're gonna limit it to, 1 or 2 houses you get to look at that are HUD, that are trash, that don't even have a furnace.
Right.
So which one you want? You want a furnace or do you want brick? So you really have to get into their heads. So when you're doing a buyer consultation, as an example, you're actually developing very quickly how they think by the questions that you ask. If they say, I have to have a dining room, say, okay, do you eat in a dining room now? No. Do you have a dining room table? No. Are you going to change your lifestyle, or are you going to continue to do what you've always done, you just have more space to do it in? Yeah, we're probably still going to do the same thing. So dining room shouldn't be a make or break deal. Unless you have china cabinet, the table, the chairs, and you have a dining room right now that you sit at every night for dinner. How many people sit at a dining room table for dinner? They use it 1 or 2 times a year, and the rest of the time it's just a room that they can't even use except for maybe homework.
That is exactly what it's used for.
My daughter has a beautiful, fabulous dining room, and the table is always filled with homework
Project.
It's like, in order for us to go over and have dinner together, we have to clear out the dining room. So, it's just, what you have to understand is they don't know what they want. They have no clue. Do you want a first floor, or do you want a second floor? Oh, I've always wanted a 2-story. Okay. And then they walk into the bedrooms, and these are so tiny. Well, you're not going to live there. You're going to live downstairs. That square footage is where you're going to spend your time. So as long as you can fit a bed in there, what difference does it make? But, it is a talent that you want to bring some of your expertise to the table to be able to ask the right questions. I love our buying presentation because it helps you with some of those questions. Because you got to ask why, a lot of times, and why is not a good word. So what would it look like when you move into your home if this was it? Oh, well, my furniture won't fit. So would you like your furniture? I mean, that's a good question. Are they going to toss it, or are they going to buy new stuff? Some people do when they move in. So if you think about all of those things and start asking really good questions, it will help them do some self-realization that will save you hours of showing houses. So, keeping that in mind. So, with what you've just done, what would make you relevant in the real estate field? So we're going to take that experience and transpose it into emphasizing 2 or 3 phrases in this next page that shows what you bring to the table in your expertise. So kind of that commercial that we were talking about. How come you don't have this page? It's 12? Do you have 12? Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. Oh, that's why I was reading this top line instead of this one. Okay, so you're bringing that experience that you just came up with all those questions, to the next phase.
Wait, which circle words?
So you've got I want you to circle words that are in your description about yourself, and create some phrases that actually will help you develop that language about how you're going to be able to help them. Is that clear? Yes. Okay. So who wants to share your favorite phrase that you put in there?
I'll say that.
Okay,
I'm committed to excellent customer service.
okay.
Based on my previous customer service skills, I've learned to listen. So when I listen, I listen to my clients' wants and needs to find the perfect home for them.
Perfect. Anybody else?
Well, just regarding determination, because I'm a determined individual, just support for every client, no matter how difficult the situation may seem. You know, never give up.
Great, never give up. I used to have a duck with hands around his neck, and then so at the bottom of it said, never give up. I need to find that again and put it up in my room.
There you go.
So I agree with you, absolutely. We have to have a never give up attitude, because I can't believe this couple has been through 4 agents. What in the world is going on with that? I'll tell you when the saga finishes. But you don't know what you don't know, right? Okay, so the next exercise I want you to think about is how others describe you. So if you're thinking about the people that love you and know you, what would they be saying about you? That's on page 14. So think about people who love you, write the words that they would use to describe you. Uh-oh, no peeking. You guys, I'm gonna have to separate you. No. What would you say about me?
Right, exactly.
That's a marriage class. We don't need that. offer an example of one of these people you respect. I had a client that taught me very long time ago that the detail-oriented part of this business was so important to her. And every time she would ask me a question, I would say, well, on such and such a day, we talked about that, and this is what the result was. We feel differently about that now. And she said, how can you recall all of these things? And I said, well, I have a file for everybody. I have a file for all in my computer for every transaction with all of the detail, every conversation that we had, whether it was voice, text, email, documents, they're all in a folder on my computer. And so back in the day, we didn't have computers. So at that point, I actually had a folder, and it had a detail on one side and all of the documentation on the other side. So when we went to the closing, she said, can I just look at that for a minute? And I said, yeah, sure. So I passed it over to her, and she's looking, she goes, oh, yeah, we did talk about that. Oh, yeah, we did talk about that. She's looking through my file. She goes, could you come to my office and teach my secretary? She was an attorney.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Okay, so in preparation for lawsuits, I mean, I've never had one, but I knew one of the things that I needed to do to be able to bulletproof, we talk about that in Ignite, bulletproofing your transactions. And part of that is, in fact, recently I had a situation, I wasn't in the lawsuit, but my client ended up suing the seller because they wanted the property. And they had given them full price and terms. And there wasn't any reason why not. And so,
How'd that turn out?
well, the detail that I had in my file, they got the house. So that's all I'm going to say since we're recording. But detail is everything, and so one of the things I bring to the table is I will be able to reference everything that you ever talk about with me about a property. So if somebody says, well, I never realized that this was an older furnace. Well, the conversation that we had while we were showing it is that you had the seller's disclosure and it told you how old it was, and we looked at it and it was in fairly good condition. We talked about a home warranty. We talked about the possibility of protecting you in that manner. So now that we're here and you have a furnace that's broken down and you didn't buy a home warranty, and we didn't have the seller change it, and we didn't have all of those things done, I don't know what else to say, but we did have those conversations, and I can show you time and date. So it's not something that they can come back to you and say, okay, this was your fault. I always want to prevent that, because if you go to continuing ed, and all of us have to, the majority of their time is spent talking about lawsuits. I don't ever want to have one. I don't want to be on that side of the table from a client. That would be a terrible experience. And obviously, wouldn't be one that you would want to repeat. So ethics is absolutely critical in this business, and our integrity is everything. And so just explaining that as one of the things that they had to say, and so you want to go into this business with the opportunity to have that kind of relationship with people. And so that's one of what I would write down, is that was a good experience. And she was a very well-known attorney, so she had the capability of knowing what good records were. I'm like, yes, did it right. And that was way before computers, so hello. That was on paper. Nowadays, my records are even better, so. But texts can be transferred to your email, so forward them. So that interaction that you have with people on on texting back and forth, just forward it. You have to transcribe it because it won't forward with all the dates and times, but you could write the dates and times from your phone, and then don't discard the text.
So do you just copy it, press it,
There's
and
actually
then
a
it
spot,
copies it,
well,
and then
there's
you
a
paste
spot,
it?
there's a spot on an iPhone that lets you,
The little arrow
edit,
thing?
and so then you can forward it. So you select all and forward it.
You can also get it from the cell phone company.
Yeah, you can, but
It's a little,
it's a little cumbersome.
yeah.
I have been known to do that, though. I want the availability to have answers for my clients, and that gives us that opportunity. All I'd like to do is figure out how I can upload all of those closed files to somewhere. Probably the cloud, right? I keep paying more and more for the cloud, but I'm scared to death to take it off my laptop. So it's like, okay, it's on my laptop too.
Yeah.
If the cloud gets invaded, we're in trouble. So I'm not sure what to do about that. It used to all be in paper. Trust me, I had boxes and boxes and boxes of paper. So, all right. So, anybody else want to share one of their, since I gave you my story, how about yours? What will people say about you?
I had someone tell me I had great follow through.
Great follow through.
Yeah, and that was your agent. But he said compared to an agent that he had previously worked with who had been around for a long time, he was like, I heard from them once and they never got back to me. He was like, every time something in the area that I'm looking for comes up, you call me and you tell me right away, how do you do this? So
Awesome.
That made me feel great.
Good job. Yeah, good job. Anybody else?
Loyal.
Loyal. That's a good word. I like that.
Dependable.
Dependable. So those are the kinds of things you want to hear from your clients. How many of you are getting, those of you who've been in the business a while, are you getting compliments from them? Something that is in writing that you can actually put on your marketing materials? That'd be a really good thing to start to do if you haven't done it in the past. Because other people speaking about you instead of you speaking about you. I know you'll like that. You'll definitely have that. All right, so we're going to move to defining your customer service. What the thing is that buyers want, 53% of all buyers want to find the right home to purchase. And they're relying on you to make that happen. They're out there on the internet, but they can't have, it's page 18, sorry. They can't find all the information that you can find. So you become that piece of the puzzle that helps them into the right transaction instead. I mean, they could buy a lot of houses, but some of them would end up being disasters. And so having the right people in the transaction is going to help them get into the right property. And they know that, so that's why they use us. That's awesome. So they also want somebody to help them negotiate. You know, sometimes buyers are out there and they're saying, well, this one sold for, I don't even know where they're finding solds, but really? If it's truly that's not necessarily a true answer. And so I want them to rely on my expertise because I have references and I have documentation I can get to. You know, I had an appraiser recently, they wouldn't use it, but I found 3 sales that they did not use. Well, they were never on the market. But it showed there was a warranty deed. Like, there was a warranty deed that that property sold for that much money in this time frame. They wouldn't use it. He said, well, there's no information about it. I said, well, but it's an accurate comp. And there was another one that was a refinance, so there was a brand new appraisal on that property. And they got a loan for way more than the house I was selling. Like, logically, that makes sense to me. Doesn't that make sense to you? But they won't use it because they didn't find it.
That's why in our trainings, when Ken talks about the appraisal appointment, meeting the appraiser there, if you do all the work up front, then they can feel like they found it. But if they've already
I met
done
this
whatever they
appraiser.
did,
I met this appraiser.
but he didn't use your
He didn't
things
use
that you
anything I
gave.
gave him.
That's so frustrating.
I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous. You know, we talked and he was friendly and he's been in the business 30 years and I'm like, oh, this is may work out well. No.
Maybe
Not
in
good.
his software, it was easier just to pull in the MLS ones instead of the off-market ones, and so we just did it the easy way. Yeah. Ugh.
So, finding your powerful position, you can see what others are saying, sellers and buyers. There's a whole list of them. Do any of them stand out to you? Did they have a clue how to do the paperwork?
It's interesting, Debbie, when you look at, are we on to sellers yet, or are we still on buyers?
We can go to sellers.
Okay, because for sale by owners, they don't have any idea about paperwork. In fact, they don't even know half the time that you need a seller's disclosure.
Yes. Perfect.
But it's almost like, it says only 3% of sellers want help with paperwork. It's almost like it's like an unrealized need. They don't even know they need help with it. That's why they aren't identifying that they need help
Right.
with it. They don't know what they don't know.
Well, they want the opportunity to discount your costs because they think that they know more than you do.
Yeah.
And so, really good questions are a way for them to realize, so what title company are you going to use? Oh, I need a title company?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you interviewed any finance people? Do you know somebody you'd like your buyers to work with if you were going to sell the house yourself? You might be in control of that, but you know, if you don't even know, you should find that out. And you have all the documentation that's required by the law, right? So, good question, without being accusatory. I mean, you can say, why are you trying to sell this house by yourself? You can't possibly know what you're doing. I mean, it's crazy to think that they're going to listen to you if you come from an accusatory place. But if you come from a place of contribution, you're always going to get farther along with them. So, you know, have you had buyers that came in that were interested and left? And you don't have paperwork. So what do you think happened? Or how many times do you think that those buyers are actually going to come back with a realtor? Because
Right.
9 times out of 10 they will.
Right. If they're serious.
And if they're serious, because they're really working with a selling agent.
One thing that I find, it just blows my mind. I have a seller in my neighborhood. I've been seriously talking to her for over 1 year. I even have a signed listing agreement with her, and then she just never got her house ready. Now, I mean, one of those people, they just can't get it together. She called me over to her house last week, and I'm like, yes, I had all my paperwork, you know, new paperwork ready to go. So I'm like, now we're gonna go on the market, so this is perfect. She informs me that her friends are going to sell her house for her. For sale by owner.
Her friends
Her
are.
friends volunteered. to sell their house. It's like you're volunteering to sell your son's car, you know, like that kind of thing. I was astounded. I could not even believe it.
We're gonna have a garage sale.
Yeah, the whole thing is for sale, actually.
It's just so bizarre.
Yeah.
But that's what made me, I mean, these things happen for a reason, and then you see more and more for sale by owners going on Zillow, et cetera, because when the market's so good, they think, oh, this has to be a snap.
Oh, yeah, this will be easy.
Right.
Yeah.
So this value proposition is such an important thing.
Right.
And looking beyond the survey for what gaps there really are that they just don't even know.
Right.
But one thing that I love is that when we list a property, we put it on the MLS, and we're reaching 15,000 agents that are working with pre-approved buyers, because it's just the way we work. They're pre-approved,
Right.
they're willing and able to purchase. So,
And you don't want to expose your house to all of them.
all of them that are motivated, right? And have identified them. And I said to the seller, you do realize that to a buyer, working with a buyer's agent and getting represented and getting shown properties, et cetera, is a free service to them. So you can understand why 99% of all qualified buyers would be working with an agent.
Yeah.
And you don't want to,
And
You
the
don't wanna
buyer's agent
cooperate
is gonna
with one.
take advantage of that FISBO.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, buyer's agents.
All day,
All day
like,
long.
oh, this is
Oh, yeah.
in the bag, yes.
honestly,
Yeah,
it's nuts.
it is.
But I love your come from a point of contribution, because that's really
Right.
the way you can start conversing.
Exactly. So that actually catapults us to the next area, which is what services do you offer?
Oh, yeah.
So on page 20, it's got a number of things that are parts of the business that we offer. And so I want you to take from this list what yours actually are. What are you going to do? Maybe it's different, maybe it's not different, but we need to spend a little bit of time and itemize the services you offer, including relevant real estate phrases, customer service that you excel in, and other relevant aspects of working with you. So don't worry about the benefits of these services or making these unique right now, because we're going to go one step further, and then we're going to take some of the things that you have decided, what is the benefit for your clients to be working with you for that reason. And so on the next page, here's a whole list. What do I do for my customers? What are my services?
And you know what's so cool about this, Debbie? That it gives you a structure to actually have content for your various marketing materials,
Right, your listing
your
presentation.
website.
Right, I mean, you look at the listing presentation, it's already a packed thing. Okay, are you gonna do all of those things? Because if you're not gonna do all those things, you do have to edit a few things. You know, if you're not going to have everything that's there, you're gonna wanna make sure.
Right. And you like the Michael Lewis listing presentation, Debbie?
I think
than
it's
the
classy
KW?
looking.
Okay.
That's why. I mean, it really has some pizzazz to it. Nothing against our E-Edge listing presentation, because I've used that forever. But I love the colorfulness, I love the, it looks professional.
Right.
So that's the
Sophisticated.
reason. Sophisticated, definitely. High class.
Yeah.
And that's what we are here at Keller Williams.
Well, it attracts a higher price point. Nobody can argue with that.
does. Okay, you got a nice healthy list of things you do for your clients?
Maybe in addition to this list, right?
What?
In addition to this list here, because it's pretty good.
Comprehensive.
Yeah.
Okay, so then on page 24, it talks about the value proposition. So each one of those names, or each one of those words that you used, so if you have integrity, and so what's the benefit? So what we're gonna develop is what the benefit is for your clients for each one of those areas of the business. So obviously integrity, you get honest, dedicated service and confident that I'll keep my promise. And so each one of those, what you're developing is what that value proposition looks like, so that as you're filling things out on your website, you have the availability to see what that benefit is for each one of those. So in composing your value proposition, select words. I want you to look at page 25 and circle some of the words that you think fit your value proposition and how you would use them in your value proposition when you're explaining it to a client. So you're going to list a property and what you want to use in that explanation of how you are different, how you're going to be able to bring your success level to getting their property sold or getting them a house found. How are you going to go about doing that? By using some of these words to implement in your value proposition. As an example, when he got in the real estate business, he was 21 years old. What kind of experience did he have that he brought to the table? And so that development over the years was something that he realized what could have been a stumbling block for him. His parents were in real estate all of his life, and so he had a value proposition going in, but he did realize that it was really important for each of us to know what that looks like and how we could develop that, whether we've had a real estate background or not. And so that's what this whole class is really driven around. After you've circled those, you have the value proposition on the next page that actually creates what that service is and then how you describe it to your clients so that they understand the value of that. So you're kind of using 3 pages there for 2 pages for your references. So your example of the value proposition is on page 24. 25 has your words to use, and 26 actually lets you develop your own. Okay, who wants to share some of their services?
What to call it, I put special services, like scouting report. We work with a lot of out-of-state investors. So you get detailed information, photos and video, as if you were here purchasing the property yourself.
Okay.
I'll put detail oriented, no detail will be overlooked, all eyes and T's will be dotted and crossed.
Great. Great benefit. Anybody else?
I just have a question about, I mean, I would like to play up this whole, my market center has this many agents and, you know, you have immediate access to thousands of buyers and sellers. Can you expound on that? What do we have to offer here, kind of based on that?
Well, we have over 300 agents. One of the things that you need to realize is that as soon as you put your listing in the multiple listing service, you also have access to anybody out there that's put in a search for the criteria that matches yours, as long as you check reverse search allowable. So what that means is, if you are putting a new listing in, let's say you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, basement and garage in Novi for $200,000. Do you think there's a few people looking for that? Perfect example is Brian Detter sent out his new listing in, it got sent out over the weekend. Did you see the new listing that he has that is in Plymouth? It's a condo in Plymouth, 189, sent it out to the whole office. Besides that, we looked in the back office of Showing Time, or actually in the back office of, when you pull up the listing down at the bottom, you can see it says reverse prospecting. You click on that, there are 182 searches in MLS looking for a property like that property. So there are 182 emails that you could actually take and send information about that listing to each one of those agents out there who have clients in their database who are looking for exactly that kind of property. It might not be for every one of them, but by doing those two things, within the first 48 hours, we have 4 offers on the property.
Targeted.
No.
Targeted research.
Targeted research will do it every time. And so targeting that and using that kind of a tool, we have access to that, and we teach people how to use it, where a lot of offices throughout Metro Detroit don't teach their agents some of those tools that you have in-house and how to use them. And so by knowing that you have those kinds of tools and more, obviously we do circle marketing. So you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to call all the people around that listing. Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? We call our database on a regular basis. Who do you know that might be thinking about moving to Plymouth? Who do you know wants a condo in Plymouth? You know, how many people in our office may have someone looking? We have 4 agents from our office showing it already. And so just knowing that all of those tools are there, we can bring that to the table and say, our research and development in our office is top-notch, and what that gives you as a benefit is, because we have that knowledge and we have access to people and technology, we can share your information worldwide. It goes outside our area. I mean, we have worldwide exposure. And we have the largest real estate company in America. So, great benefit. So did that answer your question?
Helpful, thank you.
Anybody else have one that we want to share, that you want to share? Yes.
Buying and selling education. Again, I gotta figure out what's actually the best name for it. But you can rest assured that we would help you understand the home buying or selling process, so you're comfortable and knowledgeable while making decisions.
Right.
Some people don't know, they research online or what they heard about the
Right.
process, and it's all
Right.
out of whack, so.
Yeah, it is. That's why I love our app, because it gives us an opportunity to share with them accurate information. You know, they can download our app, and it is the most accurate that's out there. Zillow and Truly are gonna tell you lies. They're gonna tell you property's on the market, and they probably been sold a long time ago.
Years ago.
Yeah. I get plenty of Truly of people calling me, and they're irritated because they found a great house, they wanna buy it today. Like, well, you're about 2 years too late.
And then with the market moving so quickly, you can't use something that doesn't update
Right,
so frequently.
absolutely,
Like,
right.
I mean, that property, well, it's for sale. No.
No.
I mean, yesterday.
Yesterday it was for
I mean, it
sale.
went pending. I can tell you the time it went pending.
Yes.
Can they tell you that? They can't.
No, they can't.
No.
And they hopefully will never get that access.
Right.
I saw the other day, I read something, where was I? I was on something, Inman or
We got an
RIS,
email over the weekend from Gary Keller and Chris Heller
that they were trying to,
that they're working.
they're working with to try to be able to tell all our stats to everybody out there. Like, really? That doesn't really equal a playing field. You tell all the stats of all the agents,
Right.
they need to stick to their own business. Stop sticking their nose in ours. We need to fight some of these things because
Yeah.
they are definitely trying to, Realtor.com wants all of those stats sent to them. I'm like, no, you're gonna eliminate us completely. Unacceptable. So after all of the exercises we have done, can you now bring to this last page what your unique value proposition is? So you have lots and lots of information that you've gathered out of your head so that you can now be able to have an elevator speech that I believe will be much stronger position because you've pulled out some of the things that you're going to do for your clients that you may not have known when you came into class. And so I want you to think about what that new elevator speech sounds like, what that value proposition that you want to put on all your marketing, that you're going to put on your website, that you're going to have that exposure being out there, telling people how unique you are and how you can help them. So that's on page 29.
Debbie, how do you recommend, when you're a realtor, you handle buyers and sellers.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we pick one or the other. Like some people in here are going to be focused on buyers, et cetera. But if you do a fairly balanced business, like it's very difficult to do your value proposition and have it speak across buyers and sellers. I think, because I think that you offer different parts of your abilities to both.
You do, but you can make it unique enough without being individualized to buyers or sellers.
Like, what would be an example of that?
So working in the best interest of all of my sellers, you'll have my undivided attention to the detail to make sure that we've priced it right, we've staged it right, and you'll have a great outcome. And as buyers, with the vast experience that I have in the value of properties and the conditions of properties, renovating many houses over the years has brought a level of expertise that will help you find your dream home. Feel free to call me. I have details on either side of the transaction that will get you the success you're looking for.
Say it a little slow.
It is recorded. That's mine. You know, you see though, that's what this exercise, that's what this whole class is about.
Right.
Is dragging out of your head, what is it that you bring to the table? How is it that you implement that in your business? And what can I say to others that's going to make them run to want to work with me? Oh, yeah, you got it. Oh, okay. Little. I think it's on the recording for you. No.
Say it like a slow motion.
No, it's on record. You can go to YouTube channel and watch it. But when you do both, I would use a little bit, tweaked a little bit like that, so that you're addressing both sides. You know, and then I also add, I've worked with many investors over the years, and I know how to analyze property and can help you with that segment as well. So it's important for them to realize what you bring to the table. And so you're saying that in your value proposition. set their pens down yet? Okay, so who wants to tell us your value proposition? Your unique value proposition? Okay, stand up and turn around, because you're talking to clients.
When selling or buying a home, it is important to work with a knowledgeable and adept agent. My knowledge and skill set about this industry is second to none. I will help guide your transaction through this process using the latest and greatest marketing technology only available to Keller Williams agents. This is why you should list or buy your home with us at Keller Williams.
I like the pause. That was excellent. Awesome. Very good. Anybody else? Now that you know you have to stand up in front of the room. Come on, looks like yours is done. Up you go. You look so cute.
Thank you. I have several years of real estate experience in customer service. I'm detail-oriented, have a master's degree in business, which will help serve you when it's time to negotiate and review contracts and offers. I will be available and responsive when you have questions or concerns. Most of all, I'm trustworthy, honest, and have an extensive agent network to help find or sell your home.
Great. Good job. Anybody else? Okay, so I just want you to concentrate and get that value proposition. I mean, you're going to change it over the years. I do. I change it constantly because of what you are going to interact with clients. But your basic strategies you built today will let you put that all into play in something succinct that you can put in there on your website. You could put it on your marketing materials. You could use a part of it as your elevator speech, because you definitely want to have something. If you meet someone and say, "Good morning, how are you? You look really nice." Say, "Great, do you work in the building?" You know, ask about them, find out about their lives. Say, you know, have you just recently moved to the area? I mean, you don't have to hammer them with 50 million questions, but we have to be friendly, because that's what part of our business is. People are our assets. That's the only one we have. And so we have to find a way to ask the right questions to connect with people in a very quick way. And so I say elevator speech. You don't have to be in an elevator. But everywhere I go, everywhere I see people, I talk to them. My kids used to hate it, because they'd say, "Mom, what are you doing? You don't even know that person." I'm like, "No, but they're standing behind us in line."
My daughter used to always
visit.
She used to always say, "You just talk to random people, just strangers."
Stop it.
Well, now you talk with a
We went on a cruise one year, and the flight was delayed, and there's like 50 people, and everybody are kind of wandering around, and constantly people would come up to me and say, "So why are we delayed?" And I'm not so sure, but you know, why are they coming up to you? I'm like, because I have a smile on my face, first of all, and smiles draw people. Yeah, everywhere I go, I've got a smile on my face. That's the plan. You're not going to definitely come up to somebody with a grumpy look. I mean, if I had a frowning constantly, nobody would be asking you questions. But if you have a presence of being friendly and open, and it comes across with a smile. See, and the dimples show. All right, so we're done today. Anybody have any special ahas from the class?
I think it was kind of magical the way we slowly funneled what we really had into what we could really say about it. good thing. Took it step to step,
Yeah.
step by step.
Yeah, sometimes it's a big leap otherwise.
I guess it was nice to see how you can personalize the business, like, you know, to your own personal business, because a lot of the things that are, I guess, at our disposal about how you can be successful in this field is like, this is how you do it, these are the steps, this is what you need to do. With this here, I never thought about how you can put so much of what you bring to the table from your previous experiences, you know.
Right, absolutely, good. Good. Okay, well, make sure you fill out the surveys, and I appreciate you all being in class, and your attentiveness and your willingness to share. I know sometimes it doesn't come from a place of comfort.
Not at all.
But we are in the people business, and so we do have to spend a little time being people-oriented.
Thank you, Debbie.
Awesome, thanks.
Where would you like your sheets?
Oh, just put them with the sign-in sheet, that's fine.